another one of the stories, and really the series that I'm proud of, is The Way Forward, because we worked on that together. That was our election coverage, and that was really our first project together. You were new, we were getting started. I was doing analysis of election issues, and you were interviewing the candidates for the gubernatorial election. So I'm really proud of it, and we covered several topics there, things like coastal restoration, the fiscal cliff, brain drain, crime in Louisiana, and I think we did that together really well.
It was great teamwork because we covered the issues, but we also showed the personalities and personal stories of the candidates, so we really together gave viewers a very well-rounded picture of all of the candidates running for governor.
Yeah, and so the two stories that I really liked from that series were, number one, explaining the fiscal cliff, and also the brain drain, which is an issue here in Louisiana where people under the age of 34 are leaving our educated population. So what we did was we put together a small compilation of both of those stories just to give you an idea of what it was and what we worked on. What is a fiscal cliff? By definition, a fiscal cliff is a set of financial factors that cause or threaten sudden and severe economic decline. In our case, a fiscal cliff is a looming financial deficit in a budget, meaning there isn't enough money to cover expenses. Without it, state agencies like the police department or the Department of Education wouldn't have enough funding to sustain themselves.
If we don't fix the structural budget deficit, we can't fix any of our other problems.
There were concerns that we were headed toward a fiscal cliff. Are there any truth to those claims?
Yes and no. On paper, it does look like there may be a fiscal deficit in some future years. It's important to remember that the revenue forecasts are incredibly conservative.
But some disagree that lowering taxes and limiting spending is enough to avoid a financial cliff.
Even right now, in a pretty good budget year, we don't have enough revenue coming into the state to provide basic services for people who need them.
Whether you believe there's a looming fiscal cliff and what should be done about it is up to you, voter. Listen carefully and choose wisely.
The human brain varies somewhat from person to person.
The phenomenon is called the brain drain, and it's hitting Louisiana particularly hard. But why? There's an epidemic spreading across the southern U.S., where educated people under the age of 34 are leaving their hometowns, taking their talents and expertise with them to other parts of the country.
How many people are we losing?
If you go back to 2000, which is the longest period in time that we have data, so the last 21 years, we've lost about 110,000 college-educated people on net. So we've had some move in, but we've lost 110,000 more than we've gained, which is about 5,000 a year.
But what can we do to prevent this?
From an economic perspective, one factor that really has more of a local flavor is housing affordability. So local communities can get involved and look at multifamily housing units. So zoning is a big issue that affects housing costs. And so rezoning areas from single family to multifamily can lower housing costs and make things more affordable.